Hey everybody, it's Marty, the JavaScript party, and Rhett is out in the living room. We just got done with our make it or break it, um, or use it or lose it video, and Rhett was in that, and she was pretty intense. So I decided to put her back out in the living room, mostly because now she's gotten the stimulation that she really needed out of it, and she is definitely feeling froggy for sure. Um, so I was last week. I mentioned I just got done watching that video, and I did mention. Oh, I should say what the date is. It is April 19th. 11 days left in the month. It is 75 degrees outside, and it is 11:40. I believe it's supposed to reach 89 degrees Fahrenheit today, and it's supposed to feel like 92 at the peak of the day, 92 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty hot, particularly for us because I think that I think it's by a few degrees the hottest day this year, and I think it's probably 4 or 5, like it's probably like 10 degrees warmer than it was last Saturday when we played. So when we play frisbee today, it's going to be really hot. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to trying my supplement that my son had gotten me, see if I still have another like standout day. Um, but anyways, I had said I was going to do French, and I changed my mind. I'm just going to move on to the next thing. I did want to take a moment though to sort of talk about like sort of the origin story of this project. So when I first started this project, I did want to learn or analyzing. I did want to learn this because basically I went through a pretty good bout of unemployment, and so in the meantime, I delivered pizzas for Pizza Hut, and it's really crazy how intense it gets during the part where you go from like delivering the pizza and then like saying you're done. So you have this app and you have to like you have to tell it when you left, and then you tell it when you get there, and then or it tells you when you get there, and then you tell it when you've give dropped off the pizza. And it does give you a few prompts, like a really useful prompts, like hey, make sure you leave them this, or they asked for that, or did you make sure you got the drinks and stuff like that. So it gives you some very useful prompts. But then what happens is you get back in your car, and then it's like it never happened, right? Like you're just going back, and basically any evidence that that delivery ever happened is just gone. And so then at the end of the night, in the heat of the war, especially if you have two or three runs to take at one time, um, it's hard to to know how many deliveries you actually made, how much in tips you actually made, and all that. So what I wanted to do is build like a little app that I could have on one of my older phones, that was a web app that didn't need to be on the internet or anything, that I could just push the button, give some basic information to, and then at the end of the night just have like a little table that had how many deliveries I made, how much I had in tips, how many just whatever other details I needed. Because basically what happens is when you check out then the night, they would just be like, here's your money, and they would just give you your tips and your mileage, and but no breakdown at all of, like, you didn't get any kind of, like, you couldn't even really see on their computer screen was like, it kind of just gave you high level metadata. It would not give you the actual data. So I wanted something so that I could kind of easily keep track of that. But the thing is your hands are not free. So I figured, oh, okay, I could have like a little thing for my phone, and I could just push a button on my phone whenever I wanted to give it information, and all that. So that's what got this all going. But at, for various reasons I I didn't really want to keep doing that job. Um, Mostly because it was very, very physically demanding. Um, and it's physically demanding for really interesting reasons. But I would say it's mostly because it's physically demanding because of DoorDash. So, because what would happen back like in the 1990s is DoorDash and Uber Eats and all those guys. Um, in like the 1990s, what would happen is, like, let's say you're going to deliver, I don't know, I'm just gonna make up a number, 1,000 pizzas in a night, then you would need 100 drivers, and then the 100 drivers would do the dishes and all the work of a, 1,000 deliveries. That work, that physical work for washing dishes, prepping things, creating all the different things that need to go into making the pizzas would be distributed over 100 drivers. But now, since you have these third party delivery schemes out there, if you have you could have 1,000 deliveries, and obviously I'm just making that number up, but you can have 6 drivers, and then any extra deliveries get taken by the DoorDash drivers. So the DoorDash drivers and those guys, they don't wash any of the dishes, they don't do any of the prep, they don't do any of that stuff. So basically, what happens is now 6 people used to are doing the job that 100 people used to do. So I mean, you are just straight up busting your butt all night long. And basically, the way it kind of works now is that if you make a delivery, you get tips, and the tips are absolutely like way better now than they were back then. Back then, you got $1 delivery. If you got the change, that was really good. And maybe once a week you'd get like a $5 delivery thing, and maybe once in a career you get like a $20 tip or a $30 tip, something like that. But that was like so rare. It was like something like, back 2 years ago, Shaquille O'Neal ordered a pizza and he gave me a $20 tip. It was really rare to get a big tip like that. Now, $20 tip every night, at least one. So if you take 10 deliveries in a night, which I used to take like 30 and 40 deliveries in a night. You take 10 deliveries in a night, you are very likely to walk out of there with like $80 in tips. So, the money's really good for that. But the thing is you are freaking busting your ass washing dishes and scrubbing floors and doing prep, and I mean, you are busting your butt. And everyone was just falling all the time, and just everybody had some freaking bad hip, bad knee, bad shoulder, because I mean, it was just like, it's just a bone doctor's freaking dream. It's like one of those trampoline businesses or something. I mean, just like everyone needs to see a physical therapist because of injuries that they're picking up in these places now, because of just the level of just grinding you have to do in work. So anyways, the trying to keep track of that data was very difficult. So because things just get very frenetic at certain points. So I wanted to build like a tool to help me with that, and then I don't know, somehow I've gotten here. So at this point, the thing that when I first started digging into it, that I realized is that this API is going to be completely and utterly turned on its head at some point in time. In my personal experience, that what we are going to see is this is going to say green. And I thought by now this one would have been green, but we haven't seen any motion at all. But this WebKit speech recognition will eventually, I suspect, will have both green, so it'll be able to handle both of them. And then eventually this one will turn green and this one will turn red. And then at that point, we'll have like sort of a mature application that you could reasonably build software around. At this point, I would not try to build a web application. I would not want to invest a ton of money into an actual web application for the general public using these technologies. Now, would I want to build like a Electron? Sure, because you can control which version of Chrome you're going to use. So like even if at some point they do sort of turn their backs on this one and they just go to this one or whatever, I believe in Electron, you can say, this is the version of Chrome I want to use for this Electron application. And so you don't have that risk. And would I want to do it for like an internal tool, like a tool that maybe like if you have salespeople and you want them to be able to, like if you got up at, like, you could be like, oh, okay, when you walk up, and as you're walking away, let's say you're going door to door, and you're just trying to see, and you want like to know like was this like someone that thought waffled, or they absolutely don't want it, or they do want it. So let's say it's a yes, no, or maybe. Yes, yes, no, maybe, yes. Right? It's very easy, right? Somebody to be able to walk up as they're walking away, they push the button and say yes, no, maybe as they're headed to the next door over. Like if you imagine a door to door salesman or something like that, this would be a very very good tool for them. Um, Probably extremely reliable, extremely useful, and you would say, hey, use it on this device, and you would probably find some way to control the version of Chrome that they have on their device so that this tool wouldn't break. Um, and then, so there's that. So, anyways, I was going to do French. I don't want to. I think I'm just going to move on to the API. And so, what I have envisioned, the thing is at some point, I'm confident this is going to break. And I want to be able to come over here and I want to see a table. And in the table, I want to see what attributes I'm expecting from the, what is it called, result. Let's go into our speech service, our from this recognition object is where all the magic is. And base yeah, basically if it finds speech recognition, then it'll set that. If it finds WebKit, so first it gives primary beneficent to speech recognition. I would imagine if I was going to be trying to release this for like some sort of internal tool, I would probably remove that, and I would be like, if web speech recognition else, and then does not, not supported or something like that. And that, but it does look like I do need to make a little bit of a commit. So let's make this commit. I think I'm still, yeah, I'm on. So I don't know how this ended up being the master branch. It would be interesting to look at because I believe by these days it's by default main. Maybe I selected master branch, all that. It does annoy me that like for some reason we've decided that word, like there's like literally 20 different definitions of that word, and that we're all just going to focus on just one definition. Um, it's really, because like, obviously like a kung fu master is something completely different than a master locksmith, which is something completely different than someone who used to own slaves. I mean, that's just a whole different thing. And mastery is like, I've gained mastery of a subject, and I just hate the fact that we're going to destroy a word over one of its meanings. But anyways, from here, I everything I do from here on out has been main, which I believe is very much as useful. Actually, main is probably better a better word for that. I guess if I'm being completely honest, git add dot, and then so there's two things that happen in here. Git commit -m adds a what did I do? Let's see. I guess it's in here. So I changed it from code to locale, which then, yeah, I guess that kind of locks me into this locale. But I don't have any reason to know this, but my suspicion is that locale is is the problem. I don't think that language, the language API should be tied to a locale, because a locale is much bigger than a language. So, and I think that there's a lot of value in, there's a lot of potential value in us capturing and documenting beautiful languages that are probably on the verge of being lost to humanity in some sort of tool like this. And like like let's say, I don't know, like a fun one like Klingon, right? Some people invented a language called Klingon. Because they liked a TV show called Star Trek, and so they created this language called Klingon. But I don't think they created a whole locale for it. And since a locale has things like what kind of money, where they put commas, maybe Klingons don't even have commas, like, or where they put separators and stuff like that, and or characters. It has characters on typing, and all that. And like this voice is a lot more like broader, but not as deep, right? Like there's it shouldn't be tied to locale, but it is tied to locale. So, anyways, adds a few new languages and changes refactors from code to locale. And then we're going to push that. And if you want it, go ahead and feel free to download it. It is at GitHub, Marty the Party, and then Angular Web Speech Analyzer. So, and then you just do an npm install, and this thing should come right up for you. And then you can play all you want. All right, so basically, I want this to be an Angular material table, mostly because Angular material just does a lot of stuff for you that around like tabbing and opening things with keyboarding and making it to where everything reads nice and pretty and stuff like that. So, and I want it to basically have like key here and value here. And that value might be a function, or it might be something else. And then it probably should have like a like a like a green information or a red question mark in the very first column. And that if it's a green information then that is something that we expect, or a green check mark. And then if it's a red X, that is I guess, yeah, if it's a red X, okay, so if it's a green, it's something we expect, and it is, it's something we expect, it's there. If it's red, that means it was something we expected, but it's not there. And then like yellow, which is something that's there that we didn't expect, with a yellow question marker. I don't know though. Yellow is very difficult to read though, but maybe gold or something like that. We'll ask ChatGPT for a good third color, but we're not quite there yet. Okay, so basically what I need to do is I want to go through since we're not doing branches, it doesn't look like, I'm going to go through in our service. I want to create a array of objects that has three, and the object has three things in it, and the three things are the name, property value, and whether we expected it and it's there, whether we expected it and it's not there, or whether we didn't expect it and it's there. Obviously, if we didn't expect it and it wasn't there, it wouldn't have an entry, right? We don't expect that, it's not there, like that. So there's only three possibilities. So now let's see where we have this interface. Okay, so it's called interfaces. That makes a lot of sense. And I guess I'm going to call these API TS. I don't know if that's a good name or not, but interfaces. Let's see. I think I probably build these things in my packages folder. So let me just go to my packages. So my other project, I do unit tests, and they have, as like in my current mindset, I've completely lost touch with the original mission of doing 3JS, and I'm only doing unit tests. It's like the unit test show. Um, it's probably not a good thing. All right, so we are going to, but maybe it is. I have become a much better developer from that, and I will say that I spent a lot of time trying to get better. Probably the last month or two have probably been in my career in decades the best, most improvement I've seen in myself personally as a developer, and I'm giving 95% of that credit for that to unit tests. So if you want to get better as a developer, try to build a complex application and try to write unit tests for it. You will become a better developer that way. If you want to build a really cool application, don't do unit tests. I don't think that's a good idea. Just opinion. Opinions change all the time. All the time. I could literally be saying something different in tomorrow. Like in tomorrow's video, I might take a full 180-degree turn on that. I do not have a lot of confidence in that opinion. So anyways, we are talking, what do I want to call this thing? I want to call this thing API interface. So ng will call the CLI that is in this package for this package. So I can be 100% sure it's not going to call a globally installed CLI. And then it's going to go inside. Oh, it's going to create an interface. Oh, I need the G. It's going to generate an interface, and it's going to put it in the interfaces directory, and the name of it's going to be API. So now I don't have any, well, I do have one change for this package. So let's go to this, no, let's stay in this view, and let's just open the interfaces. And so I want to see these guys have a new sibling. So we're going to say npm run API interface. Now, in a lot of places, you will see like an index.ts here, and that I believe is called a rollup file. For the longest time, I thought it was called a different kind of file. But anyways, I believe it's called a rollup file. Oh no, actually, for the longest time, I thought it was called a rollup file. I believe it's called a barrel file. I don't know why. That is a weird name, and I know I've seen the reason why like 3 or 4 times, and it just doesn't stick. But there'll be a barrel file. But I feel like generally, I think a barrel file. I think when they first the concept first came out, it was considered best practice everywhere, and then it's become more of a like, hey, if you want them, do it. If you don't want them, don't do it. So, and I remember we used to get like, just out of nowhere for some reason, when it was trying to do these builds, you'd get like these cyclic dependencies that would like go away if you didn't use the barrel file. Like, but if you did use the barrel file, you get this cyclic dependency, which, and none of us could ever make sense of why that was coming in or not. And then I think eventually what happened was that Angular got rid of that warning. And it was just like, really? That's it? That's the answer, is just get rid of the warning? Which, don't get me wrong, I was happy about, because, I mean, I've spent countless wasted hours trying to figure that out. But we got our API, and we have our interface. So I'm not going to do a barrel file for this, because all of these are just very dramatically different. I think it makes a lot of sense if you have like a bunch of things that like deep down inside, you're sort of arguing with yourself, should they all be in one file? No, I don't want to have a 10,000 line API file or interfaces file. But I kind of want them all to come from one place because they're all very, very closely related. I think that's sort of a good way to sort of bridge the gap. And you can say, okay, I'm going to have them all in their separate files so I don't end up with some single massive file. But I'm going to expose all of them through this roll up this barrel file thing. So anyway, so we decided we want this to have basically property. Is that what I wanted to name it? I don't know. Property, and that's going to be a string, and then value. I know value is one of them, which is going to be I think it's going to be an any, right? The value could be anything, and then type, which is going to be expected. I think it needs to be expected type. And I don't think I normally, I think I use semicolons. Well, let me look at the rest of these. I am so bad about consistency in these sorts of things. See, I'm going to want to do something like this. So I'm going to copy that. So it looks like I use semicolons everywhere else. Nope, I didn't use them here. So let's go ahead and do that. It's like when I first started coding, most people that coded were like sort of from very, very working backgrounds, like almost everybody I worked with. And when you do a lot, I think that a lot of people from very, very hardworking backgrounds, you sort of get like sort of a mentality where like it's just like if it works, it works. Okay, I'm going to use it because it works. I don't care if that wrench has a weird blemish on it. I don't care if that orange has a bruise on it. I don't care. I'm gonna eat it. You put it in front of me, I'll eat it. Like that's sort of the mentality you see a lot in working class sorts of people. And that's sort of the mentality I kind of grew up in. So like things like this deep down inside like are just kind of things that like my grandmother would have just been like, that, don't worry about that. That's stupid. Don't worry about stupid things like that. You focus on what's important. And but then I think a lot of people from other backgrounds, and I feel like when you say working class and not working class, I feel like that's a little bit too narrow. I think that non-working classes, there's hundreds of them. And there's probably hundreds of working classes as well. But when you come from other sorts of backgrounds, these things are critical. I mean, absolutely critical. This kind of thing that like, I don't know, like they probably had some sort of humiliating punishment for not having the semicolon in the right place, and they were just absolutely humiliated and abused for not having semicolons. So like, if you come from a working class environment and then you're like, oh man, I don't care about these things. The thing is the person you're working with may very well be insanely terrified that they don't have the like they may be expecting some kind of really bad thing to happen because they don't have their semicolons there. So so I put them. I try to stay consistent like that because like I don't want anyone to be humiliated or feel like really, really terrified. Okay, so we have three types, right? One of our types is like expected. I'm going to make these all caps. I think that so there's not expected, right? So if it's expected, not guess it's expected. How would you do? How I wonder how you normally do that. I bet you ChatGPT can help me with that. Expected and not found. Not expected. So I think these are the three types, right? And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So let's see if I type this in to ChatGPT, what kind of results it gives me. Ooh. Well, so I definitely like unknown. Wait. Okay, so expected and found works. Not expected works. So yeah, oh, I got that. Okay, so I don't know. Um, okay, so let's ask this: is all caps typical? Okay, so Pascal. Okay, or they represent more favorable, like I'm saying strings Pascal case. Oh, camel case. So this is camel case, and the way I've always been told to remember that is that you imagine the camel's head drinking water. So he's not. That's why the first one isn't, and then he's got his humps after it. Um, okay, so that makes sense. So legacy backend code, they might have done this on some other thing, and so you're just trying to match up with them. But if you're not, then you probably should use camel case. And this is the kind of thing that I always have a hard time with because I feel like I get pushed into more arguments about like okay, so I'm going with camel case. Well, why camel case instead of Pascal case? And then it's just like okay, let's do Pascal case, and then they get mad because they're like, no, I wanted to understand why, and you're like, I don't know why, I don't give a shit. And then they're like, you have a terrible attitude. Okay, so, okay, when Pascal case instead of camel case. So this, I don't know. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I know only a few people are going to watch this video, and who knows how many will get this far in the video. But like, if you do get this far and is this interesting to you? Because this is not interesting to me. It's only interesting to me in that I find myself having to make these arguments all the time, and I have no feelings on it. So it's like trying to get a colorblind person to argue over what's better, red or green. And it's just like, I don't know, Pascal case and camel case, it's all the same to me, you know. For values. Okay. So I think these are for types and constructors. Okay, so Okay, so in an object, value to one of these three types. So I think they're saying it should be, so I think that you are saying that I should make them camel case to be more standardized. Okay. Okay, so I don't actually plan to show this text, comma, but I plan to show icons. So the will be a green checkbox. The expected will be a red X. The not expected, the unexpected, not expected will be a yellow check question mark. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll probably do that. This is crazy. What the F is? Oh, yeah, JSX must be React or for Angular. What is this? What is this? What is this? Okay, so I noticed hello is often hard to see. Text Amber 500. So it looks like, yeah, this is probably what I want. This. See, does it actually show us the color? Because it could. Oh, well, see, I like that. That looks so nice. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to use. But I guess this would be a good time to catch that. I don't know where you'd put that though. I think you would put that in the service itself. I mean, if we had a specific service for that. But so, do I export that? Yeah, I do. So let's, I guess, right at the top. colors, and I guess those are strings. Equals, and then I guess we're kind of vibing now, you know, just sort of interacting with that. APIs txt. And then let's come back over here. Hit this little arrow here. I really like that. I like it mostly because it's in Visual Studio too. Alt and arrow back doesn't work in Visual Studio, so like I like having something that works in both of the IDEs that I spend most of my time in. I'm spending more and more time in Visual Studio every day. I spend more time in that. I would say I spend about, right now, 25% of my time working like in jQuery or a regular just DOM kind of stuff, and then 30%, maybe 40% of my time on Angular, and then the rest of the time in C#. But like the amount I get done in each one is a lot less. Okay, so did it tell me what the green was up here? Okay, I'm just going to say, what is a good green hex? Question mark. Emerald. It would be kind of nice if they showed the color here. Yeah, my gut tells me this one too. Green 600. Oh, I guess that is this. So that's a good one. So we want green for expected and found. And then red. So since we're doing the 600s, they don't, that's so funny because then you didn't, oh, here it is. Well, I don't know which one that one is, but I'm going to go with red 600 just to be sort of consistent, at least a little bit. A little. Okay, it's expected and not found. That's red. Okay. So now I have this data structure. I think data structure is the right word. And let's just say that and let it see what it has to say about that. Oh yeah, see, this is what I was hoping for too, is, yeah, oh man, that was smart. Yeah, so let's just do this const. Oh no, it's not, you can't have const there, but I do want this. What is the record, I wonder? Okay. I kind of don't. I haven't seen any. Haven't sort of sensed any sort of drop off, but between this model and the other models. I do have to admit though that I think I'm probably going to get plus, because I think it's a good thing. I think it's a really really good thing, and it's the kind of thing I want to keep going. Okay, so what is record? I have never heard of record in TypeScript. So that's a thing. Okay, so great question. The TypeScript record is a utility type that constructs an object with specific key types K and value type T, which is really useful when you want to ensure that object will have a specific key type. See, I was trying to do this. I've been trying to figure out how to do this for a couple of years now. Because this is basically a data dictionary, and I wanted something where I could specify the type and see the left and right side type, and this is that answer. I don't know if I'll remember this. I hope I do, but I have now never figured out a way to effectively express to my brain like there's just so much information coming to your brain at any given time. It does not know what to remember and what not to remember. So I believe it can remember anything. It really can. It just can't remember everything. And your ability to communicate to your brain what to remember is the actual ability, like how to mark something. And if I could come up with some, like, okay, anytime I copy, I do that, that's something I'll remember. If I would do that, I could train my brain to just always remember that. But I need to do something, but I just don't see what I'm going to tie this TypeScript record concept to. Is a utility type. I wonder how many utility types there are. Okay, so there's partial. I've used that one before. Required. Makes all properties. So I thought they were all required by default. But it overrides the fact that these are question marks. It's like, okay, if you're going to use it here, it is required. Read only. Oh man, that's neat. Now that, I would imagine, is expensive. I bet you the actual JavaScript it generates to make read-only work is probably a lot. But I don't know, maybe not. Record, that's the one we just did. Pick. That is neat. Omit. Man, I have learned a lot. Excludes. Extract. And then we don't even know. There's so many versions of TypeScript. Extracts types of parameters. Instance type. I don't even get that one. This type. I don't get that one. All right, so I think that might give my chance of remembering this a little bit higher. Is just, I don't think I ever really have spent a lot of time thinking about utility types. Um, so utility types, I think, are going to be pretty important. Especially, I know that I've had to use partial a ton of times in a professional environment, and I think that's the only one. This record, though, I know I would have used tons and tons of times. Um, how long has record been around in Angular? That's a complex question. 2000. So basically, in TypeScript, it came out in 2.1, which was released in 2016, which was 9 years ago. Um, so supposedly Angular started immediately. So this record has been around the whole damn time. That whole damn time, I've been trying to figure out how to create the typings for a map. This sort of typing. That whole time. I cannot begin to tell you how many times I've done internet searches and all that. Okay, so record is a great way to strongly type a dictionary that can only have specific keys. Son of a bitch. I cannot believe that. Oh my God. All that time. I swear I've done hundreds, if not thousands, of searches on how to build a strongly typed dictionary. And never ever had any luck with that. So instead of string, it could be an object. So instead of a string, can the value be an object? And it's just the weirdest thing, like it's just so weird. Yet this is exactly what I wanted. And it probably would make sense to have another where it's got the icon in there um, that I want to use. But anyways, I think that's good for today. Yeah, 53 minutes. That's a pretty good thing. We've kind of gone a long ways and we're moving forward. Hopefully tomorrow I can actually create a sort of a dictionary of these. Let's see. Let's go look at this expected type of these guys. APIs and strings, and then kind of generate my like my static dictionary, constant dictionary that's going to have that will be our accepted group. But I guess first we'll just start printing everything out in a table and go down that path. No idea how long all that stuff's gonna take. I don't think it shouldn't take too long. Like if we weren't gonna use Angular material table, I would be 100% like, that's not gonna take hardly any time at all. I don't know if we'll run into a couple little hitches trying to use the Angular material table. I know that like I've always had to kind of start with their example and work backwards, and I think their example has like helium, and it's like for the periodic table, and sort of work backwards from it. I'm thinking with ChatGPT, I won't have to take that approach, that I'll be able to just build it straightforward, which will probably literally take the time that it normally takes me from about like to a tenth of what the time it would usually historically take me if it works out the way I'm thinking it's probably going to work out. So I'm really starting after maybe a year of trying to use ChatGPT to help with coding and all that. I'm really starting to experience a lot of the benefits of that. So anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.